Hello, my name is Cat and welcome to week 2 of my new series on the New World, where my plan is to get as many high age units as possible all the way up to oceanic future units in the industrial age. To do that, I am following this guide by Uberhelp, so please check that out if you're interested in doing the same. And also, if you're interested, I have an intro video to this series where I go over my plan. So this is week 2. Last week I made my way through Bronze Age and Iron Age, got my city started, and in this episode, in this week, it's more of the same story. I continue developing, I move up to early Middle Ages, I continue doing more GBG, I do my first week of Guild Expedition, which was fun. I also unlocked and did some PvP arena, which you'll see later on, which is actually very nice for a new city. And I also continued on the continent maps. So in this episode, I will go through all of that, starting with day number 1. So day 1 started off with my morning collection and some technologies, but nothing too exciting. A bit later on, I started the daily challenge, only to be met by another complex negotiation. So just like last week, no chance of completing that at the moment. I don't have the resources, and if I did, I wouldn't have wanted to spend them for the daily challenge. So, a little bit later, I finally unlocked military tactics, so I could do some PvP, though to be honest, I don't plan to fight my neighbors, and I don't really think I'll be hit often either. So, yeah, it was mostly to progress through the technologies, and we'll see if I'm able to stay unhit for a while. After that, I went back to the continent map to try to fight another bonus province sector without much luck. So at this point, I kind of realized that I needed some more advanced units. I needed to get to EMA as quickly as possible. Now this week I continue to do more GBG, but like last episode, I'm not going to be showing it a lot because yeah, it's more of the same. You know how it works, you get some rewards and so on. So yeah, I am doing GBG, but I'm not going to be showing it here. So yeah, later on in the day I continued on the continent map, taking down the 4th Sturmhohen Sector. This one I used 8 soldiers for, and that went quite well. I knew I would lose a couple, but in the end I only lost 4, and I'm quite happy with that, because yeah, I can always recruit more soldiers, they're quite quick and easy to recruit. The next sector I first tried using 8 archers, and to be honest I should have known that wouldn't work well, so I switched back to 8 soldiers, and that worked surprisingly well. I ended up taking quite a lot of damage, but because of some luck with enemy targeting, I actually only lost 1 unit in the end. So with that, I completed Sturmhohen and could continue scouting. When that scout completed, I started the other one and did the first sector of Teufelsfurt. Again, I used 8 soldiers, this time against fast and light units. I know my soldiers work well against the fast units, but I also know the light units will deal a lot of damage to me because of their higher boost. So, in the end, thanks to again some luck with enemy targeting, I only lost 4 units. I could have been more. And yeah, that's about it for day number 1. Didn't do too much more, so let's move on to day number 2. Day 2 started with my morning collection. Today the daily challenge was luckily much simpler. I just needed to do a bunch of 5-minute productions for 30 forge points once again. So, I then went on to do some continent map fights, started with the first Keltenweiher fight. I decided to go for 8 soldiers against mounted archers and catapults, which I knew would be very costly, but I thought I had a chance of winning it. Luckily, the catapults deal little enough damage, so I was able to reach them and take them out without taking too much damage. In the end though, I did lose 6 units, but I am fine with that. I then went on to the second Keltenweiher Sector, using 3 archers and 5 ballista. Here my plan was to use my range to take down as many enemy units as possible before they reached me, And again, thanks to some patience on my side, as well as some luck with enemy targeting, I was able to win only losing one archer, and I was definitely happy with that. I don't mind losing them as long as I'm able to keep my artillery units. So I then tried the final sector with some soldiers, but that was a huge fail. Didn't matter too much though, because I had decided when I saw the daily special reward that today would be the day that I moved up to EMA. So I deleted some soldier barracks, so it didn't really matter that I lost those units, and started preparing for the move. I would only move up after a guild expedition started though, so that I had an easy week where I could use EMA units for Iron Age guild expedition. So a bit later I finally made the move, did some side quests, including this one for 30 diamonds, which was nice. I also did this one for 3 EMA heavy units, which I didn't know if I would be using too much, but as you'll see I did end up using them a little bit. I aborted most of the side quests though, because I would rather have the recurring quests. Some of these side quests would be nice to complete, but they would take too long to research a technology or so on. So I continued, I did another round of the Jester quests, which was nice. I got another 35 diamonds, definitely happy with that. So starting to get some diamonds that I'll be able to spend later on to heal units, which I'll probably have to do sooner rather than later. So yeah, by the time I had done my daily challenge, I had the recurring quests again, so I went on spending the forge points I got for technologies while doing recurring quests. My first goal in EMA was to research the mounted archers, so didn't have quite enough yet, but I was definitely close, and luckily it's very early on in the tech tree. So I then went on to do some more GBG, got some forge points there, which was nice that I could use towards the archers. After that, I started on the guild expedition, my very first one on this world. I did some simple negotiations early on because, well, they are cheap and because of the castle system. I could have fought them if I wanted to, but I wanted to get the castle points from negotiations because I have other sources of fights, so yeah, I thought it was better to use to do negotiations here for the castle system. I did fight the 4th encounter though, to save a couple of goods, so yeah, that was simple enough with ballista and archers, which is one of my favorite combos, or ballistas in general, or artillery units are very nice in quite a lot of fights to fight without taking a lot of damage. Anyways, I then did some more GBG, got 5 diamonds here, which was nice. I then did a fight using those 3 heavy units that I mentioned earlier. This one I knew I would take a lot of damage to my soldiers, but I was quite confident that my heavy units would be beefy enough to survive. And I was right, I lost the soldiers, but the heavy units survived easily enough. So yeah, I knew I would be deleting my soldier barracks, so that didn't really matter too much. A little bit later, I finally was able to unlock the mounted archers and started to rebuild my city and place them down. And that's about it for day number 2. Quite an eventful day, moving up to EMA, and I'm really happy with my progress so far. So let's move on to day number 3. This day, on the other hand, was not that eventful. That also had some quite good moments. In the morning, I just collected as usual. Then a bit later in the day, I was able to unlock the Antiques Dealer. I decided to sell my Finishall coin production kit. It might have been useful later on to get quite a lot of coins. but I don't think I will be that short. I know I will need a lot for scouting, but I think I will be able to cover that quite easily without this kit, and I think it's better to get some dealer coins so that I can start getting things from there. Later on I continued with some more guild expedition with a combination of fighting and negotiations. Later on, I continued on the continent map. I did Greifental Sector for the daily challenge. Here I used 8 soldiers, which I knew would do quite well against the enemy units. In the end, I lost 4 soldiers, which is quite alright. I then did the negotiation I needed to finish the daily special, and oh boy, was I lucky. You can see in the clip how excited I was getting 5 catapults. I'm really excited. I really like fighting with artillery units early on, so getting 5 of these this quickly truly meant a lot, and I'll be using them a lot in the upcoming days. Because yeah, to get the catapult barrack, that's all the way at the end of the tech tree, so that's going to take a while. So yeah, 5 catapults, exactly what I wanted, so I immediately decided to try them out in GBG without much luck. They are nice to fight with, but because my boosts are so low, I had built up some attrition, so they didn't really work too well there. But yeah, still very happy to get them, and they would be very useful in the continent map, for example, and as you'll see later on in the PvP arena. So yeah. Later on I did find some success in GBG though, using a combo of catapults and mounted archers, which was quite nice. I could use my archers to, move ahead, be kind of a meat shield, although I didn't really have to take many hits from those either, and that way was able to win a couple more fights. But yeah. At the end of day 3, I did something I should have done yesterday when I unlocked it, but I finally used the reconstruction mode to rebuild my city. I was able to squeeze out quite a bit of space with a more efficient layout, and I left some space open, preparing for unlocking the mercenaries and the PvP arena tomorrow. So day 4 started off by exactly that. I unlocked the mercenaries and the PvP arena. And actually the PvP arena is very good on a brand new world. The easy fights are usually easy enough to complete, and you can get some very nice rewards, including 10 forge points or 5 units, for example, which is very nice in a new city where your forge point production is very limited and you don't have an Elkras or so on, for example. So what I'll do now is that I will show all the different easy NPC fights that I fought throughout the week, all the different kinds of NPC fights, and how you can beat them all with 8 artillery units in EMA. So this will be a bit out of order. but I think it'll be easier to follow if I show all the different fights now. I am doing the PvP arena fights each day, but I don't think it's really worth showing all of them in these videos, just like with the Guild Battlegrounds, for example. So I will show all the different fights once now, but after that I will not be showing them. So just again assume I am doing those, because I am almost always using up all my attempts to get the additional rewards to help me progress. So enjoy these fights, because yeah, I won't be showing them later on in these videos. Alright, a bit later I reached level 2 of the castle system, which is another very nice addition for new cities. A little bit later on I continued on the continent map, first by taking the final Keltenweiher Sector. I used 6 mounted archers and 2 soldiers, and that worked quite alright. I ended up losing 3 units, so quite happy with that. I then continued with another bonus sector with a new strategy that worked very well. I used 5 catapults and 3 mounted archers, using the mounted archers as meat shields, and that saved all my catapults from taking damage, so I was able to win only losing attached units. But as I'll show later on in next week's episode, you can also win these easily using 8 mounted archers by hitting all the enemy units once on wave 1. They will take down a few of your mounted archers, but not too many, and on wave 2 and 3 you are able to hit back and take them down all of them without losing too many mounted archers, so that also works. Anyways, I got 20 diamonds from the bonus quest this time, which was very nice. And I also got another 20 diamonds from a recurring quest a little bit later on in the day, so very nice here, picking up some diamonds here and there. I then completed Guild Expedition level 1, using a combination of negotiations and fighting. finally, I ended off the day by doing the final Galgenschlucht bonus sector, again with my strategy of using mounted archers as meat shields. Finally, I got a side quest asking me to infiltrate all sector of Felssenke for 5 forge points, so I did that, thought that would be worth it. Again, similar to last week, I could have fought all of those and this quest would have been completed, but because it was a side quest, it blocked the recurring quests and I wouldn't be able to take the sector quickly, so I just spent the coins, would make the fighting a little bit easier as well. And I was able to get those 5 forge points. That was very nice. And that's the final thing I did that day. So day 5 started off by collecting, and then I did some more guild expedition. Later on in the day, I continued on the continent map, taking a few of the Felssenke sectors I infiltrated last night. First one was quite easy with 8 mercenaries. Again, same story as the sectors I previously used 8 soldiers on. I can easily take down the enemy fast and ranged units, but do take some damage. I only lost 1 unit though, definitely happy with that. Next fight I went with 8 artillery, with the goal of taking out enemy artillery wave 1 and then the remaining units while staying out of range, and that worked well. I then did another 8 soldier fight. This one I knew I would struggle more with because of the enemy mercenaries, but didn't expect it to be this close. It didn't really matter though to me because my plan was to remove my final soldier barracks after this fight and replace them with more mercenaries. Later on, something else exciting happened. The first fight against me. My DA was able to defeat it quite easily, which was fun, and since then I haven't really been attacked much, and when I have been attacked my DA has been able to defeat it, so haven't had any issues there. I heard some of you have been struggling with people plundering you, but yeah, for me it hasn't been an issue at all, and I'm not that high in my hood. I'm around halfway, place 30 or something like that, so yeah. I then completed all level 2 of the guild expedition except the last counter. This time I only went for fighting. Alright, after that I completed my daily challenge as well as the first 7-day chest. I got forge points from both, so now I had 60 forge points to spend. I would have preferred a broke hideout, but 50 forge points definitely isn't bad from the 7-day chest, so I was able to spend those 4 technologies. A bit later I did the final Guild Expedition 2 encounter, and halfway through it completely missed that the unit could kill one of my catapults. I thought it was safe, but it wasn't, so I ended up losing 1 of the 5 I had, which was quite a bad blow, but I did at least win the fight without any more losses. Got a tribal square for my trouble, which I'm not interested in building myself, but it will give some nice antique dealer coins. And then I finished off the day by taking the final 2 Felssenke sectors. First one was quite easy with 8 mounted archers, lost 2 units in the end. The next one I first failed miserably, only using 8 archers, then I tried a combo of 4 mounted archers and 4 mercenaries, and that worked great. I focused taking down the heavy units with my archers and the fast with my mercenaries, and in the day I only lost 1 unit. Day 6 I started off the day with collections as usual and had some more guild expedition. Alright, I was also able to win the large army for my daily challenge, which was really exciting. It was quite close, but luckily my 8 mercenaries did end up winning it. Later on in the day, I used a negotiation boost in Guild Expedition to do some more Guild Expedition. I did still fight quite a few of the fights, but the tough one I went for negotiations. I've continued selling stuff to the antiques dealer, including the mass self-aid kit. It might have come in handy, but with such an active world, I can rely on guildies and friends helping me when needed, so yeah, I thought it would be worth to sell that for some more coins. And in general, I am selling stuff almost all the time, so even though I'm not showing it all the time, I am slowly picking up some coins and gems for the antiques dealer, and hopefully one day I'll be able to buy something really good. Speaking of the antiques dealer, a bit later in the day I completed the daily challenge and got a color camp, which is quite nice early on in Iron Age, but it wouldn't get much use for it later on, so I decided that that's going to the antiques dealer as well. I then did some more guild expedition, this time fighting another 2 encounters. A bit later, I used another negotiation boost and finally completed Guild Expedition level 3. We're not unlocking Guild Expedition level 4 this week, so yeah, that's as far as I could go, but I wouldn't have continued anyways, because it would have been too expensive to complete. I ended up getting 100 diamonds from the final encounter, so I'm very happy with that. In general, I've been able to pick up quite a few diamonds so far, that's very, very nice. And you might have already noticed in some of these clips, but I've started replacing my cottages with clapboard houses, so I continued that once I got another medal expansion, and as you'll see in the upcoming days, I slowly work my way on replacing all my cottages with clapboard houses as I get the resources to do so. So yeah, day 7 started with some continued rebuilding together with my collection. I got yet another expansion from the technologies and also started getting some shoemakers to make up for all the supplies I'm spending on clapboard houses. And well, that's about all that happened during day 7. I did a bunch of PvP arena fights, but other than that, it was just about rebuilding my city. I was done in guild expedition, so didn't have any fights there. I also was done with the continent map, so didn't have a lot to do there, or I couldn't really continue there, so yeah, in general, day 7 was quite chill, quite a relaxing day, didn't do too much. And that's about it for week number 2. So yeah, this has been my recap of week number 2. I really hope you have enjoyed this video and the idea behind this series. It has been really fun for me to make, but also quite a bit more time consuming than my regular videos. As some of you know, this video is quite late, a couple of days later than I would have liked it to be. So yeah, if you like this and this series, please leave a like and a comment, it really helps me out. If you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to subscribe. And before I end, I would like to thank my Patreons. I would like to thank Homestar, Merrick B, PQ the Goat, Arthur Sabathiel, Hugo Count von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Rocco, Henrik der Erklärbär, and Mattia. Thank you all for your support. If you want to support me, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.